Hello, hello, hello. All right, we are on. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. It's exciting to see people show up to an IDA meeting here, I have to say. All right, just putting that out there. So roll call we have today, we have me, Marlon Ramos, just in case. We have Adam Pollack, Christina Amato, and Gregory Nato should be here any minute now, which would be our fourth board member. Also, we have Mr. Rob McLaughlin, and Sharice Beaker, and Mr. David over here as well. So thank you, everybody, for coming along. So that's the roll call. Proof of notice of the meeting was sent out. That was sent out already. Does anybody have anything to say regarding the minutes?
We'll need a quorum to vote on.
We would need a quorum to vote on to that. So maybe what we could do is...
Skip the treasury, too.
Yeah, we got to skip the treasury's reports. And so we have presentations at the moment. I guess we could start moving into the presentations. Who do we have first? We have the amendment.
Sure.
I'm sorry?
We should maybe ask, I would love Gregory to be here to hear what you guys have to say, but if you guys, because you're not relative to a specific project.
That would be a great start.
My name is Matt Stoddard. I am the business manager of Local 417 Pine Workers. I just have to bring in a couple of premises from some of the different locals. And I just wanted to say something. I'm also a board member on the town of Montgomery out here. And another gentleman's on his way, Dean Ambori. He is an officer on the Orange County. I just want to say thank you to this board. When I started to read your labor policy, it's not only the best in the area, it might be the best in the whole state. Now, I sat down as a person from labor and sat down and helped write the one up in the town of Montgomery. And also, we copied it for Orange County, too. And when I read yours, we were blown away how good it was, and the insight, and that you guys adopted such good local labor language to protect the people that live in your community. And you had the insight to put in their apprentice language, which we are now taking your language, the City of Newburgh IDA language, and we're taking it to every other IDA board in this area, in the Hudson Valley region. And we're hoping to have the same insight that the City of Newburgh had. I have over here these two gentlemen in the corner. Jimmy, would you stand up, please? This is Jimmy Hill. Well, Jimmy, when did you join the apprenticeship in Ireland in Local 417? In 1997. Young man, stand up next to him. This is his son, who's an apprentice in our program right now. Marcus, when did you join? 2022. This is almost becoming a generational thing, and that's why I wanted these two gentlemen to come. This young lady over here, she's from the Laborers, Local 17. Your name? And you went through the Laborers apprenticeship program? Yeah. And you live?
I live right by high school, by different projects going on. I'm actually working at the project on River Road. I've been here for 17 years. This program changed my life 17 years ago, and I'm so glad that it's still available to so many people. And I've seen it move different ways now. When I joined, women weren't really working. They were flagging, they were doing this. I'm able to work next to the guys and learn all the trades. Sorry, I don't like mics. But it's a great program.
And has it helped you in your life and to bring you on?
Of course, absolutely. It gives me stability. Like I said, it's a privilege to work so close to home right now. We've all worked so far, and when you get work around your area, you really want to, work on that job. We make jokes saying we work this way and the other guy works the other way, but it's nice that we have some work going on around here for the last year to really pushing. I like to see my tax dollars at work.
All right.
And this young man also Local 17?
Hey, my name is Zion Smith, and I've been with the union for about 1.5 years now.
You're a apprentice?
Yes.
And you live in Newburgh?
Yes, I do live in New York. Or in Newburgh, rather.
And these two gentlemen also also both still live in Newburgh. Young man, I didn't get to meet this young man. You are?
My name's Craig Coulter. I'm a third-year apprentice with Local 279 Carpenters. And the union, the apprenticeship program has provided me with a great, viable career for the future. And I couldn't be happier with the opportunity.
Can I ask how many apprentices, do you know about how many apprentices are in programs, or?
I can get you that number, but right, I want this board to know that the building trades roughly, come on.
He speaks
No, you
very...
turn, yeah,
There we go.
All right. So the building trades usually take in roughly, because of the amount of work, it fluctuates. The building trades takes in roughly anywhere from 200 to 300 young men and women, and they must live in that community, right? So we're the Hudson Valley Building Trades, so they have to live in the Hudson Valley, within that 6 counties, Orange, Rockland, Dutchess, Putnam, Sullivan, and Ulster. Now, we take in anywhere from, let's just use a round number of 250 apprentices per year in the building trades. If everybody had the insight that this board did and would implement local labor policies with apprenticeship attached to it, we could take that 250 every year and double it to 500. And
Have the capacity to take on?
absolutely, we do. The problem we have is we don't have the jobs, and some of the jobs that are here, all the workers are imported from other states. Why? Because the institutions don't put the proper language in to cover their residents, their taxpayers. And we believe tax-paying dollars
Yep.
should stay in the community. Why are we taking taxpayer dollars, and I'm not using the idea, let's just say a school district, and somebody from Georgia gets the job, we're fueling their economy instead of our own with our tax dollars. The nice thing about the Newburgh School District, they signed on to a project labor agreement. They have a PLA, the CTE building, which she's talking about, that's near her home, she'll be on it. Why? Because we know it's guaranteed to go to local labor because they had the insight, just like this board here, to put in the proper verbiage that states we are going to use local people on local projects. And that's it. And that's the way it should be. And I can't thank this board enough. Like I said, I sit on an IDA board. I helped write the policy. And I was very proud because I had the best policy around until I read the city of Newburgh's policy, and I went, I'm taking it back to my board, and I'm going to try to get it voted, implemented into our language, and I'm going to do it all through the Hudson Valley, and hopefully the leaders of the Hudson Valley is going to be the city of Newburgh IDA because they had the insight to implement that, and I thank you all very much.
Well, thank you for, can I ask you another question?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you guys advertise for apprentices?
We do it multiple ways. We do it through the DOL. We do it through job fairs. We do it, it's online, many, many ways. The problem is, we usually get 200 applicants a year,
Yeah.
and we only have room, and it matters what the temperature is outside, meaning, is there work in the area that's going to use, say, local labor, because we can't take in all 200 of the kids coming in and sit them on the bench with no jobs.
Right.
We need to be able to send them to work. And that's why the languages that you guys implemented are so important to us.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of revamping our website, and hopefully in current or future editions of that, we are going to have links to apprentices to you guys so that
Absolutely.
when they come right out of the IDA program, when the projects are being developed, they can come to our website and they can get directed to you guys to apply. So, yeah.
Beautiful. We're also working with Senator Larkin, Senator Skoufis, and he has a program, and it's funded. It's funded by Senator Skoufis' administration, but what we do is we take inner city kids, and it's almost like a pre-apprenticeship program. So what we do is we bring them in, and let's say there's 20 of them, and they come in and they visit all our training schools, the ironworkers, the carpenters, the laborers, the operating engineers, the electricians, the plumbers, steam fitters, everybody. And then they give them OSHA classes, safety classes, some basic stuff like that. And then after they do a certain amount of time, it's a direct entry into our programs. So we line up all the hats, the hard hats, with which trade is on each one, and they get to go up, pick which hat they want, meaning what trade they want to be implemented into, and they're directly brought into our programs, which I think is another wonderful program, and one of our best things that ever was, too, is helmets to hard hats. Anybody who served for our country, man or woman, gets automatic, comes to the front of the line. We care about the community, and so does, obviously, the City of Newburgh IDA. And I want to commend you guys, and let's hear it for them. Seriously, let's give
Thank you for sharing that. Could you just say your name again, because we didn't have you on the mic, and I wanted to go on the recording. All right. Matthew Starter, and I think you also wanted to say, but
she has a question.
I also wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say, I'm not sure exactly what's going on presently, but throughout the years, they had in the Newburgh School District, throughout the school, they had programs like masonry. Steve Kalita used to teach those classes, and we used to have people in the school district that used to help teach kids how to really do certain different trades.
You want to speak into the mic so we
Sorry.
get, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
And then a lot of the kids used to, if they succeeded and they showed work ethic, they would go to Local 17 for an apprenticeship. They would, kind of be steered in the right direction. So it's nice to see that. And the same thing he said with like the multiple trades. They also have a woman's same thing with just for women, that they get to pick their different trades and they get to see. And I've watched two different girls this year, one in the carpenters, one in the ironworkers, really succeed and learn things that they probably never would have known if they never knew this was an opportunity.
Sure.
When I joined, I was 18 years old and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and this has really made my life so much easier. Yeah. Having stability and working, and as long as you're working and you really show that you care, you can continue and have a good life. As long as the work's there, basically. Yeah. It'd be nice to work around the area and have more union.
Well, we're trying to create more projects, so hopefully there's more.
Well, thank you for sharing everything you just shared with us today. And honestly, it's good. It's very pleasant to hear that we can be some sort of a model for other IDAs. So
if you would do us a favor too, and maybe write an email to our city council just to say what you said.
Consider it done.
I appreciate that.
Would be very helpful for us, and also thank you to our council who really put this together.
Thank you for.
Do you mind to just reintroduce yourself, because you said the mic wasn't on, and just for the purposes of the recording, just to whoever spoke. Just say your name and,
Hi, my name is James Hill.
Thank you.
And I live in Newburgh, New York. And I've been an iron worker since 1997.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Marquise Hill. I've been an iron worker for 2 years now. Currently, I'm a third-year apprentice, and I locally live in Newburgh, New York.
Nice.
My name's Nicole Russo. I've joined in 2007, Local 17 years. And I live in Newburgh.
Hi, my name is Zion Smith. I'm in Local 17, currently a third-year apprentice, and I live here in Newburgh.
My name is Craig Coulter. I've been in the Carpenters Union Local 279 since 2021. I'm from Newburgh, New York.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you guys. Really,
thank you.
Really
Thank you for that.
More of them. I just wanted only to bring a couple tonight, and I just wanted you guys to understand we do promote colleges, but there are some kids that aren't going to college, and you got to be able to give them a choice beside college, and the building trades does.
Right.
All these guys will have health benefits, and they have, at the end of their great careers, they'll have a pension. The only problem with the way we're structured as building trades, and this is a good point I need you to know, is if they don't work enough hours, they fall out of their coverage. We're not a public union. We're a private union. We're self-funded. They only get health coverage and pension credits if they work the amount of hours that they have to work each year. So, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's also nice because I actually see Ms. Nicole. I've known her from Newburgh, so it's kind of one of those nice things to be able to do work for Newburgh and then see people from Newburgh that we could potentially help out. So Nice. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Very cool.
All right. So, Mr. Gregory made it perfect timing. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So going back to item number 2, which was the proof of notice of the meeting. Is there anything outstanding regarding to the last meeting's minutes? Because if everything is good, then we can move on to the approval of the minutes. So we need a motion.
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
All right. I second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstaining? Opposing? All right. So that takes care of item number 3. So let's move on to item number 4, the report of the treasurer.
Larger font next time.
Oh, good.
Chair, we have 2 months. We have April and May for Treasury. Okay, the reports of the Treasurer, April and May 2024. April 1st, the operating account began with a balance of $332,593.99. There were total deposits during the month amounting $53,681.48 over disbursements totaling $54,853.70, yielding a closing balance of $421.77. Our payroll account began with a balance of $114,061.70 and closed with a balance of $104,102.56. The applications fund began and closed with the same balance, $14,151.44. Lesser tenant account began with a balance of $2,445.01. There was interest paid in the amount of $8.02 during the course of the month, yielding a closing balance of $2,453.03. The labor monitoring account began and closed with the same balance, $15,014.79. Our money market account began with a balance of $1,247,484.85. There was interest paid in the amount of $4,090.11, yielding a closing balance of $1,251,574.96. The Newburgh South Logistics Center account began with a balance of $26.81 and closed with a balance of $26.90. We took in 9 cents in interest during the month. The Lakeland account, 5663, the active account, began with a balance of $4,102,875.30. There was interest paid in the amount of $51,855.78, yielding a closing balance of $4,151,731.08. So I'll move to May next, and then before we move to approve them. For the May Treasurer's Report, the operating account began with a balance of $352,375.30. There were deposits during the course of the month totaling $52,812.33. There were checks and disbursements totaling $99,789.11, yielding a closing balance of $367,298.52. Our payroll account began with a balance of $114,061.70. There were monthly payroll expenses in the amount of $14,829.69, yielding a closing balance of $99,590.63. The applications fund began and closed with the same balance, $15,151.55. Our lesser tenant account began with a balance of $2,453.03. There was interest paid during the course of the month totaling $6.31, yielding a closing balance of $2,461.34. Our labor monitoring account began and closed with the same balance, $15,014.79. Our money market account began with a balance of $1,251,574.96. There was interest paid during the course of the month totaling $4,240.31, yielding a closing balance of $1,255,815.27. The Newburgh South Logistics Center account began with a balance of $26.93. There were actually deposits made during the course of the month, which brought the balance, the total deposits were during the course of the month were $3,681.69, with disbursements totaling $3,675, yielding a closing balance of $33.62. Last but not least, the Lakeland Bank account 5683 opened with a balance of $5,102,875.30 and actually closed with the same balance, $5,102,875.30. Those are the treasurer's.
Yeah.
So there's a clerical error
Okay.
in the end
All
of the May report with the Lakeland account. It jumped sizably.
Like $1 million?
By $1 million, yeah.
Yeah.
I suggest when you propose to vote that we vote on May's with the clerical error changed.
Yep. I'll
internally.
indicate that in the motion then.
Okay.
Thanks for catching that. And we'll,
So it ended.
make a note.
That.
I thought Chair was being generous. but-
It's exciting. We've made a lot of interest.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
that explains that.
I move that we accept the April Treasurer's report as written.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. I move that we accept the May Treasurer's report with the revision that was, brought forth in the amount of the balance in our Lakeland bank account to reflect $4,102,875.30 instead of $5,102,875.30.
What was the number again?
So the number should be $4,100,000.
54?
Yeah.
You just replaced the 5.
Replace the
Yeah.
5 and the 4.
Okay, that makes sense.
You could see it
Yeah,
on the.
I figured.
April.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
I second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries.
All right.
I'll hear a motion to pay our April bills. If we have it all.
I make a motion to pay April's bills.
Second?
Second?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And then finally, I'll hear a motion to pay the May 2024 bills.
I make a motion to pay May
I second.
2024 bills.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Who was second?
I was
Oh,
the
you were?
second, yeah.
Okay.
Marlon, second. All right, the motion's carried. And that concludes the report of the treasurer. Thank you.
So we just circle back to May. All right, thank you. All right, so for the chairman's report, I don't have a whole lot other than we had 2 of our projects that we're directly tied to, which is our Washington, 2 of the Washington projects awarded the Momentum Fund from New York. So I think, if there are continuous indicators of where we're going in Newburgh, this is one of those, and this is a substantial amount that is coming into the city of Newburgh, which it's great timing. It's great timing for the projects, in my opinion. So other than that, I don't have anything new to add. All right. So then we can move on to item number 5, which is the council's report.
Good evening. Thank you. David Kraft is here with us, with me as well. You touched on 104 Washington, which will be a subject of a future meeting. Scobie is on the agenda, but they seem to be moving forward again on their due diligence and DEC's requirements, so that's all good. And then I just wanted to note there was mention that I arranged Matt's appearance and the union's appearance. Matt asked me if he could come. Matt was, when I represented the town of Montgomery IDA, Matt heard about your policy, asked me if he could come and speak, and I said, sure, I'm sure the board would be happy to. So I was an intermediary, but I didn't arrange for it. So I won't take credit where it's not due. That's all I have for you this evening.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bob. The Executive Director's report.
It's been a really interesting month. So we've just been dealing with a lot of stuff in-house, office, and all that stuff that you guys know about. But I will report that I think their website will probably go live soon. Ant from Black Dog, they came and they were able to take a lot of the photographs of the locations that we had suggested. Like, people agreed, that I was kind of surprised that they agreed, which was nice. So he's very encouraged by that, and I think he said, he's going to be able to start swapping everything in, and then we've had good news and different things that we're going to be able to report on, so that should turn around pretty quickly. Like, I think that was the main part we were missing to make it distinctive and stand out. But other than that, yeah, I don't have anything.
I have a question about
Sure.
I haven't had a chance. Busy day today. So do we...
Is your mic on?
Yes,
Okay.
I am up now. Okay. So do we have a good understanding of the participation rate with the photos?
He didn't give me like that figure, but I would say out of that long list that I gave him, maybe like 3 or 4 didn't want to do it. But everybody complied, and yeah, I think almost the majority did it. So
That was a
was
good
nice.
list. That was a good list, so
Yeah.
it should be okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for answering the question. Thank you, Cher. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a few resolutions here, but we have some presentations, I believe.
Should we do presentations first?
I would do them in connection with the motions, so maybe
So the first one would be for
Sims.
the Grand Street. Okay, yeah.
Sims and Walton.
Good afternoon. I'm Walt Garigliano here on behalf of Grand Street Newburgh Property Co. and FSH Hotel. They applied to the Newburgh IDA for a project back in July 30 of 2021. It involves 3 pieces of land that at the time were owned by Orange County and off the tax rolls, located at 4854 and 62 Grand Street, just up the road, less than 0.2 of a mile. The proposal that was previously approved by the IDA was for the adaptive reuse of 3 historic buildings on the property, a YMCA, an American Legion Hall, and a Knights of Columbus Grand Temple. And the proposal was to transform those project sites into a hotel, event center, spa, and dining facility. The agency adopted a resolution in February of 2022 approving the project in a straight lease transaction with the company, including assistance in the form of sales tax, mortgage tax, and real estate tax abatements. The straight lease transaction approved by the agency closed in November of 2022, at which point the owner of the land, Grand Street Newburgh, acquired the 3 parcels from Orange County. The agreement to undertake development of the hotel and related improvements included a time frame for redevelopment, which is no longer rational given events that have occurred since then. Those time frames are also captured in your recapture agreement. The project has made considerable efforts to finance the project. It's been extremely difficult. Sims Foster is here on behalf of the company, and he will give you a little bit more insight into what has been put together. But in this day and age, going out to get like a regular bank loan to build a hotel just isn't possible, and it makes it more complicated in a market like Newburgh, where there's not like a history of the last 8 hotels that opened did very well.
Right.
So Sims will review with you some of the challenges that they've encountered and amplify the requests for additional time to complete certain of the tasks that were in the approving resolution from 2022. Thanks.
I'm Sims Foster, the applicant. Good to see you all again. Good to be back.
Yep.
I wish we were
Right.
touring.
Yeah.
But we're not today. Sent a letter dated November 14th to the board on 2023, setting forth some of the challenges that we've had in obtaining funding for the project. I think as some board members might have been aware, we did have initial financing with a local bank, but during that unfortunate time with Silicon Valley Bank and the banking crisis, that financing fell out. So it put us into a market that, honestly, in my career, was the worst market to try to go get financing for a hotel project. So the good news is we've made substantial progress on three fronts. The buildings, are to be rehabilitated to historic standards. We've engaged professional assistance on advanced application for historic tax credits. So that was not originally part of the plan when I first came from the board, but that will be part of how the capital stack will step up. And I'm happy to say actually just final approvals from SHPO and NPS came through. So that is done as far as all of that work that I'm sure you know is required. We do have two term sheets, one for CPACE loan, which will CPACE being commercial property assessed clean energy financing for the project's energy and water efficiency improvements. It's tied to proper energy efficiencies. And we also have a term sheet with the USDA Business and Industry Program. So that's where we are. That actually went to the USDA to start their review as of last week, another huge hurdle for us. So we have financing, but one of the things among other usual items necessary to advance the term sheets to formal loan commitments like appraisals and guaranteed maximum pricing from the general contractors, an extension from the IDA would be necessary to make sure that goes from where it is, which is in really good shape, but also to get it to the finish line for final commitments. So my letter sent in November outlines the necessary extensions. The resolutions before you for your consideration would give us the time we need to bring this project to reality, which is the goal.
Right.
And my commitment. So Walter and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Sure, I do. What's the extension amount? I see we have this version, but I don't think it's the one from the website that we got the link. Could you just confirm the extension that you're looking for?
Certainly, Marlon. So with respects to the extensions that have been requested, it goes from, in terms of the investments of the money into the funds into the project, it goes from 2 years to an extension of 54 months, if I'm correct, from the date of the approving extension, from the approving resolution to invest the total funds into the project.
The funding of the project.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
I didn't mean to interrupt. You said
Okay.
funding of the project?
So with respects to the investment of the total project funds into the project, so originally it was the time frame was 2 years from the approving resolution to invest the private funds into the project facility. That's been extended, or the requested extension is to 54 months from the date of the approving resolution.
That's the current request, 54 months?
Yeah.
54 months, correct. And then in regards to the other extension, with respects to the creation of construction and employment for local labor, it was previously, forgive me, I'm just looking here,
That hasn't changed.
It's 2 years also, 36.
It was, yeah, it was 2 years commencing within 3 months of the day of the project facility was delivered to the company, but we extended that to 36 months. Correct.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to, I have this document, but I remember reading the time. I just wanted to confirm the time, that's all. Yeah.
The project's not changing, though? You guys
Oh,
are
great
still
question.
pursuing the same project?
Correct.
Yes? Okay.
Correct, and I will say not that it's during the time where we lost financing and we're out in the market, there was some contemplation about breaking it into 2 phases.
Sure.
Which was a feasible pathway to lessen the amount of money needed, but also increase the amount of time. I'm happy to say that we found financing, which is my goal, to do everything at once.
Right.
So that is the plan. So it is as was presented to the board.
Right.
It's the same project.
So I have one other question. Do you guys, and you would obviously know this, I don't know the requirements, but do you guys qualify for any of the Momentum Fund?
I think it's residential only.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
This current round, I think, is closing relatively soon, June 28th, but based on what came out of the budget, Hochul is very interested in sort of projects that will get started within the next 2 years, shovel-ready. A lot of money can be used. A lot of money is directed towards housing, but a lot of it is also towards infrastructure of just creation of projects and jobs. So I would highly recommend you look at that because, like I said, this application round is ending relatively soon, but we're hoping there's another.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an ongoing thing for a bit. Yeah, the budget is pretty large.
And that definitely, as an IDA, we are. So you have to get. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have to get sponsored, or the actual agency, either the city or the IDA, can sponsor your application. And obviously that helps tremendously with your capital stack, if it helps with your infrastructure, if it helps with, any of the things that it can. Really, please look into it.
We will, absolutely. Thank you.
I do have one last question, and it's just piggybacking on what Christina said regarding the same project, and that is also including the partnership with Orange County Community College?
Yes. So Food Tech, which I'm on the board of, has progressed in the last 2 years. I don't know if you know, their construction did start on the old Key Bank building to build a new facility for the job training and apprenticeship appropriately. So, yes, we'll still be working closely with the college.
Phenomenal. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right. Yeah.
Excellent. Very good.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for
your time, sharing.
This.
So I do have a question regarding this resolution. Should we make a motion and then move on to the next resolution, or do you recommend us waiting at the end?
No, we should do this resolution.
I think you should do this
Okay.
now.
Sure.
I don't want to jump in on David, but the 2 issues I would like to point out. The investment amount has been changed. Originally, it was 29 million. Now it's 39 million.
Yeah.
Projected, not guaranteed. They will, in speaking with council beforehand, they'll finalize that as we get closer to the fall, potentially, right? Yes.
Probably not a surprise to anybody that things cost more today than they did in 2021 when they filed this application. The budget has been evolving and mostly evolving upward. So we're not asking you to change the minimum threshold of investment. We're asking you to authorize additional sales tax abatement, which may be necessary because what used to cost $1 may cost more than $1 now, and the sales tax moves up and down with the budget.
Right.
We don't have that exact number at this point. Sims is working with a contractor who will be giving him an allocation of that budget. Bob had a suggestion on this, which frankly works very well for us if you want to move forward with a change with an estimate going forward. If it turns out to not be enough, we'll come back, but hopefully we're kind of guessing that the construction costs will be up a little bit, but not a great amount.
Okay.
I was just going to say, can we authorize something?
It's 30%
Since we
increase.
have the outline of obviously what they're doing, can we authorize it based on what the costs are at the time? Because they're going to continue to move.
So,
Until.
right, so they're in a catch-22. They need this resolution in order to move forward with their financing, to demonstrate to the lender that they have an extension from the IDA.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we don't have those final costs yet.
And we need them, we can't just put in.
Well, so what we did do is a compromise. We plugged in new numbers so that the sales tax went from 433,000 to up to 500,000 for now, and the mortgage recording tax exemption went from 91 to 375 because their loans are much
The
larger.
91 was in the original adopted
That's
resolution.
right. That was the wrong number.
It was actually, what's in place now is 235,000 of
That's
mortgage
correct.
recording tax exemption. And we've asked
keep
you to
making that
increase it
mistake.
just
I
in
keep
case.
making that
We're not sure whether the C-PACE lender will require a mezzanine loan, a mezzanine mortgage as additional collateral security for the C-PACE or not. So what Bob suggested to me today certainly works for us, and if it turns out that the allocation of the construction contract between labor, soft costs, and items that are subject to sales tax isn't covered by the 500, we'll come back to another meeting and ask you to reconsider. But what Bob has proposed works very well for us.
And so I apologize, Walter's right. We did do an amendment for the mortgage recording tax, and I keep forgetting that we did that, so that's on me. What I did add here is that you're amending the Exhibit A's and B's. Exhibit A are the projected project benefit. Exhibit B is the recapture events that would occur. You're amending that, but in the resolution itself, it's saying that it's going forward, the approval is subject to a further resolution of the board. So that at some point between
have a firm
now
number.
and the end of the year, when they have their numbers more firmed up, we'll be able to then address the actual Exhibit A and Exhibit B, and then do amendments to all the closing documents that we had, and present a new pilot to the receiver of taxes and the taxing jurisdictions so that they know the new start date.
Okay. Yeah, and we totally understand that the timing of everything has made the impact that you're asking for, so it's understandable. All right, so is that everything that you want to share on this matter? That's the changes that we've okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. All right, so we're looking to make a motion for this resolution. Anybody want to make a motion?
I will make a motion that we accept resolution 2024-06-17-01.
I think it's 16, right?
Am I looking at the right one?
What?
2024-06-17-01. No, is that right?
That's it.
Yeah?
No, that's for the South Logistics. Do I have?
No, it's FSH Newburgh Hotel.
No.
Newburgh Hotel.
Resolution. See the two different numbers there?
Yeah,
It's two different numbers.
was the original one. They're two different numbers here.
Yeah.
No, this is the resolution that we're voting on?
The one on the
This is
top?
amendment to
To the
other
Got
original
it.
one.
Understood. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay, you did.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I was.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, one more time.
Hey. Anybody want a second?
I will second.
I think we need a roll call for this one, correct?
Yeah.
Marlon Ramos?
Yes.
Christina Amato?
Yes.
Adam Pollock?
Yes.
Gregory Nato?
Yes.
Resolution is passed.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
That's for the old one.
Thank you for coming. So, for the extension of Scobie Drive.
So with regards to this resolution, as you all recall, 5 Scobie Drive is the property that the IDA currently owns, but is subject to a purchase and sale contract, forgive me, with Scobie Industrial Partners LLC. This property is also subject to a brownfield cleanup site agreement with the DEC. The purpose of this resolution is to extend an access agreement that the agency currently has with Scobie Industrial Partners to undertake further investigation and remediation work that the DEC had recently requested. They found they have some inquiries with regards to wetlands in the property, so they have requested further investigation and remediation. So prior to closing on the sale of the property to Scobie Industrials, what we're requesting is for Scobie Industrials to undertake that additional work. So the purpose of this resolution authorizing this resolution will allow for the agency to extend that access agreement with Scobie Industrial Partners so we can undertake the additional work.
All right.
Does that make sense? Any questions?
So we recently did an extension, correct?
So we did an extension for 1 year, subject to certain benchmarks which
Right.
may occur ahead of time.
Mhm.
So that extension would run till June 30th of next year, 25.
Okay.
This is, as David said, is specifically for the wetland investigation. Most of us, I think, know DEC has taken a recent interest in wetlands and has come down with new regulations, really restricting the way development can occur in something that is classified as a wetland. So this is consistent with those new regulations to do this investigation. I don't think anyone expects an issue with DEC in moving forward with the sale of the site and development of the site, but it is consistent with their new regulations, which I wish, personally, was in effect 30 years ago, because then my development would never have been built. I wouldn't have bought there, and my basement would be flooding all the time.
Oh, boy. So, given on which the speed that, the agencies move, do you think that's a good amount of time that they'll have in order to
Yes.
finalize this thing? Okay.
Yes.
So that's the only reason we need this extension, because we've done the one through June.
The original
because of the
original
law change.
access agreement, as David mentioned, has expired. So this allows us to renew and extend it, and all of if you recall, the access agreement provided that not only did they have to repair any work done on the site, but that everyone coming to the site is insured. So they indemnify you in case something happens on the site.
Right. Oh, I just thought you said we had done an extension through June 30th of 2025.
That's for the overall contract of sale.
Okay, so that's nice.
Right.
All right. All right. So, anybody have any other questions? No? All right. So we need a motion.
I move that we approve resolution number 2024-06-17-02 as submitted.
I second.
Okay.
Do a roll call. Marla Ramos,
Yes.
Christina Amato,
Yes.
Adam Pollock,
Yes.
and Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to skip this next item, and we're going to circle back to it. All right. So then this is for the second public hearing for the South Logistics Center. So we also have a presentation, I believe.
Good evening. It's on, right? Okay. Charlie Bazidlo. I'm outside counsel for the project. Just thought it'd be good to get up and give a little brief explanation as to why we're here tonight. So, I want to make sure. It's good? Okay, good. Anyway, back at the May meeting, it was teed up for an approval resolution, the project. And Mr. McLaughlin's firm put together a nice set of papers. We were all good with that. We had one issue, though, and that was one of the recapture items. And one of the recapture items was the idea about the guarantee of the minimum amount of jobs that would be created. we had believed we had explained, and obviously we didn't explain it clear enough, that this type of facility, even at the size that it is, could have a fairly wide range of employment possibilities. And that's dependent upon who the end user is going to be. It could be as high as the 213, 220 full-time job equivalents we had talked about. But if the right type of tenant, well, I say the right, but a particular kind of tenant comes along, it could be substantially lower. And probably down in the realms of 30 or 31 employees, as we're talking about now. And it's not hard to imagine. It's a matter of what the entity is going to do inside the building, how much automation there's going to be, what products are going to be moved in and out of the building. So if one of the recapture events is going to be a minimum jobs guarantee, we can't legitimately, sign on to the 200 and something employees. We can feel comfortable with a range, and the low end of that range being the 31 full-time employees. So we did turn in an amendment to the application that presents the job numbers as a range. Nothing else changes. The amount of the construction value of the project doesn't change. The construction jobs don't change. The increase in tax revenues, real estate tax revenues to the town, to the city under the pilot, doesn't change. It's just the idea that we would have to have, if the board is going to have jobs as one of the recapture events, we can't live with the higher number. It would have to be that lower number. And we could very well end up with a figure somewhere between those two. So in talking to Mr. McLaughlin, I believe he felt that would be a big enough change that we would require a second public hearing on the project. So the timing of that hearing is important to us now, as I'm sure it is to the board too. We're in a position where we have been talking to general contractors. We're working on our agreement for getting a general contractor on board and applying for a building permit. But the project, we're not going to sign those agreements. We're not going to go forward with it. The project can't move forward without the IDA benefits. It's just not feasibly financially feasible. So what we're requesting of the board is to hold this additional public hearing as soon as you can, whatever the minimum date may be in order to arrange that. And then if the board would also consider setting a special meeting date somewhere very soon after that public hearing to consider an approval resolution, knowing that you don't normally meet in July and August. So we realize it's a big ask, but if the board could see the way towards doing that, and assuming nothing unusual comes up at the public hearing that would change your minds about it, we would be in a position to then be able to move forward with the project. But again, I got to stress, without these, we just don't have a project. So that's my.
So what do we look for timing?
So under the statute, you have to give at least 10 days notice of a public hearing. To get everything, we could probably get everything to share. Wednesday's a holiday, so probably Thursday, Friday at the latest.
Right.
So then you would get it in the paper maybe next week, and then 10 days later have a public hearing.
Right.
If
So I have a few questions.
Sure.
All right. First, I noticed that on your website there's been a few projects that you've done with IDAs in the past. And I'm sure by now when you apply, you have an understanding that whenever you submit an application and it has a particular number with jobs that you're saying that it's going to provide, that's what you're saying that's going to be the number, correct? That's a standard application across IDAs, right? So originally there was a high level of confidence on the numbers provided, and then now it's changed, and it's a pretty significant change and it's also a range. So what changed other than you remembering that it is something that you would be tied to? What else changed? Do you have an idea of the tenant?
There's still no tenant lined up for the building, so it will at this point still be built on spec. We believe that when we gave the presentations, we did talk about the range. And
But
again,
the application said one thing.
application said one thing. And so that's the high end of the range. That's there. We're not changing that. It's the idea that if it's going to be one of the recapture events, and I'm still not 100% in agreement with Mr. McLaughlin that it has to be one of the recapture events, but we'll leave that to the side. That number we can't realistically go into that number. If it's going to be something that's going to be the minimum, we have to talk about the lower minimum.
So this type of building, this type of project is new to me. What would a 37-person company be, and what would a 225-person company be? Like, can I have an example? I just like what type of...
Very high. Good to see you again. Will Pasek from Brookfield. It really doesn't depend on the type of company. It's about the use that's going to be inside. You know, you see a bunch of these modern facilities with the larger clear heights and the modern features. They have more automated features of it that require more couple office jobs and then people to be running forklifts back and forth between these trucks. Some use that might be more intensive would be a more pick and pack operation that you might think of as grocery aisles of goods where people are going to be constantly running back and forth. We do not have a tenant here. What we came to you with this updated job numbers is we have a facility about 15 miles down the road in Montgomery that we built on spec. The same thing here. We built that during the height of the market, and we did not have the ability to go to the IDA at that time. Now that we're in a softening point in the market, we have this facility. That one down the street's fully leased. It's a 315,000 square foot facility to Prime Source Building Materials, a national building material provider, and they're going to have 30 people in that warehouse.
30.
And that is going to be utilizing that facility for a period of 8 to 10 years. They're going to be consolidating their operations there. They're going to be pooling their labor from local areas. And just given that we have a facility down the street here, we provided an estimate of the jobs in the application. We don't have a tenant in mind. If I did, it would make my job a lot easier because I would have everything else all spelled out. But what we're coming forward is saying, when the terms of the recapture events came out, we weren't uncomfortable with that, and we want to make this project a reality. After we listened to the presentation earlier, construction jobs are still going to be coming here. And the general contractors that we talked to, they all picked up on that apprenticeship language in your code because it doesn't explicitly say what type of labor. It just says use these counties and then submit it to your inspector. But we're really excited about the project. I think this is just one of the last hurdles that we need to get comfortable with in order to make this a reality for the community.
Right. So this triggered a second public hearing, and then originally a few months ago I proposed a second public hearing because we didn't have a big enough turnout. And I remember part of the language that day was that there was an urgency. So, right. So now this is a pretty significant change in the original application, and then this is triggering now again a revisit. So there's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit of conflict here in the sense of urgency based on some of the changes that are coming forward and also your experience in IDA applications. So again, this is a pretty big range, gentlemen. This is 30 to 250 jobs. This is a significant change. So from the original applications, that's.
So we're just voting on a public hearing. This isn't an approving resolution.
Right.
This is a public hearing, so we will get public input and,
right.
I think, correct? Sorry.
One would be to set the public hearing date under the understanding you have a certain minimum time frame. But we'd also like the board to be able to consider and come to an agreement about a special meeting date where you would then discuss the project.
So that's why I asked about timing, yeah.
So the first is 10 days.
Right.
After the hearing, there'll be a court report here. That'll have to be a transcript. That'll be produced. That takes time. So I think it's unfair to say for the board today to schedule a public hearing. I mean, to schedule an approval hearing, a special meeting over the summer. What I think the board can consider is, after they receive the transcript, your request tonight to consider a special meeting once the transcript is completed.
How long do we know that it takes to produce a transcript?
I would say like 1 to 2 weeks. It just depends on the stenographer that comes, how long they normally take.
However, sorry.
Yep, no, you're...
If the applicant is willing, I think all stenographers will produce the transcript faster
Oh, yeah.
for an expedited fee.
Okay.
I don't know what
We
that
have,
fee.
obviously, we have no problem.
I don't know what that fee is, but it's, you know, a couple of $100, I think.
So we're potentially looking at like a July 1st public hearing?
Something after, what's July 1st? Something probably, let's see.
Well, let's assume it can get in the paper a week from today.
Yeah,
The
that's
24th,
pretty
so you'd have 10 days out.
I would say either the first or the second week of July. I mean, it could
Because
definitely...
once the 4th comes, the 4th and the 5th is...
Monday is.
But you all don't have to be present. You can come, but I can hold the meeting
but
on my own, or with one of you, or with all of you, or with none of you.
But you can't hold it on the 4th, or
No.
presumably.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it can happen, yeah.
Well, if you want to guarantee no one's here.
I mean, but, right, that's part of, that weekend.
I think safe to say would be like July 8th or like the 15th, which is a month or less from now.
So
that I could probably
let me
read
jump
it.
in. I'm sorry. We did prepare in anticipation for the last resolution, where there was a potential for a second public hearing. I think we did prepare all of the public hearing materials. So it's just a matter of updating some dates in those materials.
Okay.
We could probably get them out tomorrow.
Okay.
Close the business tomorrow.
Okay.
Meaning that you could potentially get it out to the newspaper on Thursday, I would think. I don't know if that works for a publication on Friday. Probably not. They still think you're looking at a publication next Monday at the earliest?
Yeah, I think their timelines are posted on their website. So, like, if you for something, if you send the notice today, they go out on this day. So I just
So
have
we'll
to
check that out. We'll do it as fast as possible. I mean,
Yeah.
conceivably, you could get the notice even in potentially tomorrow and then just mail it out.
I think
That's a lot of
also
work.
it's fair, as soon as we can set the public hearing. I know some people are traveling for part of the summer, so it's going to be a little bit hard to coordinate. So the sooner we can get that part done, then we can try and coordinate when we will all see each other again, if that's fair.
And then I would note that, as required by the statute before you consider this hearing, Cher did arrange for a new cost-benefit analysis by
Right.
MRB, and that's available
That was
to
my
you.
next question.
That's
We-
available
I
to
don't
you.
think they've done something else.
There is one.
Yeah, no,
It's in your packet
it's in your package.
with the resolution.
So, in addition, go ahead, Adam.
Are we going to have to revise the cost-benefit analysis too?
Yeah.
We did.
It was.
It's in
It
the
was,
packet.
it was revised, I'm sorry.
So you have a copy in your packet of the amended pages and of the cost-benefit analysis that's been updated on those amended pages.
It's also in the links.
I kind of printed you with some, I got one right here.
You have a
if you
bigger
want-
one?
Yes.
Thank
Bigger one.
So, about the cost-benefit analysis, I would like to actually engage MRB, and ideally before the public hearing, and ideally maybe as the board, if anybody has questions.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I think.
Sure, that's a whole other
There's a
component
few
we didn't talk
questions that I
about,
had.
which is that if they're going to appear to report on
And
the
that, too.
update, then that also depends on their availability
We
and their
will need that.
vacation time and all that. So I will look into,
We should try
So
to wedge
part
that in.
of the meeting requirements should be in addition to everything we're trying to juggle, would be to have MRB be present again and do a presentation with the new numbers.
You'd want to do that before you scheduled the public hearing?
No.
No,
We take
during-
a public
so
hearing
that-
I want to get with them and have them there.
Yeah, we're
Try to wedge everything in the dates as best we can.
Yep. Okay.
So I think tonight, the only thing the board can commit is to do the best efforts to try and accelerate the process.
So it sounds like we're looking at it somewhere July 1st to the 8th. Sounds like
Something like that, yeah.
somewhere in there. Just because I'm not privy to your internal workings, what does it take for the board to convene a special meeting? Do you have to disagree amongst yourselves over the phone?
I think
a
we
lot
have
of
to-
juggling.
30 minutes, I can go through the whole thing.
I think we all have to, we have to physically be together. We can't do
Yeah.
it right over Zoom anymore. That was only during COVID. So we all have to be sitting in the room to be able to vote. And because there is a reduced amount of us, all four of us have to be here.
Right.
In order to set the special meeting?
No.
No. In order to
make it.
do, the final resolution.
Correct. To vote because we're down to four. All four of us must be there.
We have to.
Present. Yeah. Otherwise, we can't even.
The
vote.
reality is, I'm sorry, the executive director will poll the board and try to figure out what date or dates all the board members will be available. Unfortunately, currently, all the board members need to be present.
But to do the public hearing, we don't necessarily. We can schedule that
easier.
this evening.
All right, so that's fine. So I understand now, in order to set the date for the public hearing, you want to check on MRB's availability. And,
Correct.
Figure out the details about that, but we're probably looking at that period of the first.
But David
If
and I
everything
will-
lines
David
up.
and I will commit to get the public hearing materials to the executive director by COB tomorrow. Unfortunately, Wednesday's a holiday, so not much is going to happen Wednesday, but.
All right, very good. All right, appreciate it. And,
of course.
Hopefully, we'll see each other in July sometime. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody want to make a resolution?
What do we?
To vote to schedule the meeting.
Yeah. To vote.
So,
You want-
what was the question? I think I heard
I
if
said,
we're going to
does
make
anybody want to make a resolution or make a?
Well, you have to
Motion
vote
to-
on the resolution.
On the
We'll vote
resolution.
on scheduling the meeting.
I wouldn't leave until the actual vote. If you want to.
What are we,
Okay,
what are we
I
voting
will
on?
make a,
What are
I
we
will
voting
make a
on?
motion.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-06-17-04.
I second.
Okay, roll call. Marlon Ramos,
Abstain.
Christina Amato,
Yes.
Adam Pollock,
Yes.
Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Does it pass?
So, nope.
No. Okay, so if it doesn't pass without you voting.
I would like
so-
to have a call with MRB. I have a few questions about their projections.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that it is
Well, so
accounted
this
properly.
is just to have a public hearing. This isn't to approve
It's
them.
not an approving resolution.
This is just to set a public hearing so that the public can come and opine. We have to sit down afterwards and talk with MRB and ask all of our questions before we actually
Can we
vote.
do that before?
Before the public
Yeah.
hearing?
Yeah, hopefully. we
That
can.
that would be that if we
You can do that tomorrow. I mean, you can
can
call.
we set up a call? It doesn't even have to be you guys, but I know I have questions.
Oh yeah, you can call him anytime you want.
All right, so if I
can
do
arrange
have the
that with
ability
you.
to go over the numbers before that, then we can do we could do this resolution over.
Okay.
So, but then we have to meet again to do the resolution to set the public hearing. and
No.
then-
I think what I'm saying is we could re-vote on the resolution, given that I have a call with MRB before.
Okay, so I will repropose resolution number 2024-06-17-04.
I second.
Okay. Roll call. Marlon Ramos,
Yes.
Christina Amato,
Yes.
Adam Pollock,
Yes.
Gregory Nato.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution passes.
Thank you.
resolution should be executive session first.
I think knows that, but I'll refresh his memory.
Well, I was going to say, can I propose executive session?
Oh, well, then you do it. Yep.
Yeah, because I wanted to propose it. I actually propose we go into executive session.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Executive session, but
Yeah, you have to, I'm sorry, I apologize. You have to state what the reason is.
Oh, well, there are a few reasons to discuss, let's see, employment and real estate disposition.
Correct.
Contract of.
Thank you. Sorry.
Who was the second?
and the second one is the.
I second.
Oh, Adam was second? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, give me 1 second.
1 second.
Oh, we're in business. All right. Okay, so we've officially come out of executive session. No decision was made. We had Christina Amato vote to come out. I seconded, and and no decision was made.
So, Mr. Chair, while you were in executive session, I was reviewing the resolution 2024061701 that was voted on earlier today concerning the FHS Newburgh Hotel project in Grand Street. And upon further review, I don't think it is necessary to include the language that I added in sections 2 and 3 regarding that it be subject to a further resolution. When I added that, I had, I don't want to say I forgot, but I guess I did not remember correctly that we, in fact, had already closed on this.
Oh, okay.
So it is already in effect.
Okay.
So we are just amending the time periods
Understood.
in the recapture, so we can proceed with an amendment of those documents, and we don't necessarily have to wait for their closing.
Okay, so is the suggestion to just put the resolution?
To amend the resolution as voted on to delete in section 2 and 3 the words subject to the further resolution of the board prior to the provision of any financial assistance. The financial assistance has already been provided because you've already approved it, and in fact we've closed on it.
Right. For the purposes of proper wording, could you repeat that for me?
Sure. So the proposal is to amend resolution 2024-0617-01, voted on this evening, June 17th, to remove the language from section 2 and section 3 of the resolution that makes it subject to the further resolution of the board prior to the provision of any financial assistance.
Do you need us to vote on this again?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion per the revisions to revote on resolution number 2024-06-17-01 with those revisions that Bob just suggested.
I second.
Do a roll call. Marlon Ramos?
Yes.
Christina Amato?
Yes.
Adam Pollock?
Yes.
And Gregory Nato?
Yes.
Okay.
I apologize again for that error.
Well, so at least we got it out today before our break. And all right, do I have the rest of the documents? So we just came out. We'd make a decision, and I can't find the rest of the agenda.
Oh, it's on the back.
Okay. So I believe we can move on to item number 9, which is old business at this point.
Oh, but you have to. I think the two remaining resolutions
Are going to be tabled.
Yeah, I think we are looking for some more input from Bob on one of them, so we're going to table the resolutions until we get more input. Is that correct? Is that how I should say it? So, yeah, now I think we can.
Well, thank you for saying that, Christina. Yes, that's correct.
Call out the two resolutions, right? That we're
Yeah,
gonna table?
you want to do it? Turn your mic on. Okay, this is resolution 2024-06-17-03 and resolution 2024-06-17-05.
That's correct. That's the one, too.
Thank you for that. And then now we can move on to item number 9, which is old business. Anything?
So I just included that there because some people had questions about it and where are we going with it and where do you want me to go with it, and so
Yeah, it kind of stopped right after a while. It was going and then.
So we had bi-weekly meetings with Tracy up until a few weeks ago, and we paused them because we had 2 members resign, and so how do you want me to continue with that? Because the last time we were going to have like a work session before the May meeting, which we didn't have a quorum for. So do you want to wait till September to have that same work session? I guess that's the 2 options. You can wait to have a work session in September before the board meeting and she can go over the options with you guys at that time. Right. Or we can go back to the original of she meets with you individually and make some suggestions that she can work on over the summer to present something in September. So it's like, do you work on something over the summer or do we wait till September?
There's work on some. So there's work on something over the summer via the individual meetings, and then what about work on something over the summer by having the work session now?
You all have to get together.
Is that not doable?
I think, personally, I think that there are a few things that are separate of our IDA, but that are sort of in the public realm, kind of regarding direction, that I personally wouldn't mind. I like the input of everyone else together and to bounce ideas so that we can all hear the same information, of doing a work session together with her so that we can ask questions and maybe have a little bit more information about some stuff that's out there when we are fresh, because I think if we do a work session now, by the time September comes around, we're going to forget where we were anyway.
So you're in favor of still
Just
the
holding
group
off.
approach and doing it, but not doing it now?
Yeah, not doing it now. I mean, I think, if we can do maybe another retreat type of environment at the beginning to kick off the year, to kind of go over things, objectives that we want to accomplish in our next session. Maybe we will have new board members, which to that point, I have had people who applied the last round when the city put it on the website and say they haven't heard anything back. Should they reapply? And I said, I don't know. It's not our process. But should I be telling people to continue to send in their resumes if they're interested?
I actually was approached, and I was going to ask Chair that question too.
Yeah.
Because some people.
And can we? And I have been telling people that are applying to copy you and the city if they're applying, so that we know people are applying, so that we have record of. It would be great. I don't know if it's going to become law that we are required to have a school board member and a union member, if she's going to sign
like I
that
said,
into.
That's in the statute now.
Okay.
As a suggestion.
Yep.
If the governor signs that bill,
it'll become mandatory.
It'll be mandatory.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that again.
It'll be the governor. There's a bill in front of the governor, which I think passed both.
I think it did, yes.
Passed both House and Senate, that in New York State, that's in front of the governor, that I think included a bunch of things, but one of them was, of all IDAs, one board member is required to be a representative of the school board, because there's a lot of concern about school board taxes, and the other one was supposed to be a labor. Construction labor, which Mr. Stoddard, I wanted to say, to his members, apply.
Yeah.
They are workers and taxpayers within the city. We need board members, so hopefully maybe we can do a retreat and discuss all of this and bring everybody up to speed and come up with objectives and.
Actually,
I do have.
Montgomery had 2 people.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense to time it, but I think we should really come in hot with this after the break. You try to move fast with it, because there are pending applications. In my understanding, there are people who are interested in asking, and I think that we want to have a better structure, or at least, I don't want to say a better structure, I want to say a clear idea of how we're going to move forward with the UTEP as these applications are coming in, so that we're actually, doing a better job for ourselves.
Yeah, I think
So-
you'll have probably 3 new applications by the September meeting.
So I think we should-
you'll have probably 3 applications by the time you have the September meeting.
So you mean 3 new ones?
3 new ones.
Other than people who've already applied? Because didn't you say
Yeah.
people have already applied?
No, I'm talking about new projects.
Coming up, new.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
That
were
happened.
talking about board members.
New projects.
I will just say, as it relates to the UTEP, and I know I said this individually, and we can discuss this separately, but as a board member, I'm very much behind the process with MRB or whoever that group is, that regardless, every application will have to go through a test of reasonableness for defensibleness for us, for the community, to come up with a report to determine, as we were just discussing with logistics, if it's necessary, that they get benefits or not. I think we're in a city where, as a taxpayer, I am concerned about, what sort of benefits I am helping with for projects, and if they need it.
I agree. That should be part of the process, for sure. I agree. A test of reasonableness should be a defined and automatic part of the process as we do this. It makes it understandable. It makes it defensible. I think that the public likes to see it when they come to the public forums, and so there's no downside to it. It's a good thing for it too. And also, back to I want to toggle back to the board vacancies quickly, just because we have 3 vacancies. Chair, what is the current process? Because if there are people that have applied and there's other people that are interested, like what are we doing now? I remember how it worked when I joined, and it may be different now.
Yeah, so when you joined, the IDA would hold the interviews. They would come together, pick who they liked, vote, right? And then they would make that suggestion to the council, and then the council would appoint that member. They've removed that process. Basically, they're the ones receiving the application, vetting the applicants, and then making the appointments to your board.
Okay, so the part where it comes here, we do our review and quote-unquote selection, and then it goes for a vote is not part of the process?
Not anymore. Basically, you just see the resolution when it comes up at a council meeting, and that's who you're going to find, who's the board member. The link to apply is on our website, so they can apply, but it's a city council matter. It's their document. It's their intake process. And as you know, I think last time we asked for an update about last year, they had about 8 names, and nothing happened with that. And probably those people have had life happen, and maybe that list isn't even current. So my suggestion would be to tell people to submit it again, because it's going to be a fresh batch. Yeah.
Is there a point of contact with the city that's in charge of this board appointments?
So Marlon emailed the city manager, and Marlon also spoke to chief of staff, and so they
and then had a call.
just said that they don't have any updates for us as of yet. I imagine, they're also going to be slimming down their meetings to once a month in the summer, and
Right, that's part of the reason I bring it up.
Yeah.
Vacancies and times that tick into the
yeah, we ask, but we just are told not yet. So we don't know what their plan is.
Fair enough.
So with the UTEP, you're instructing me to what was the final
The
instruction?
verdict is not now, later.
You wanna wait till
It'll be in the
September?
summer, and then the format will be the work session, kind of like a retreat. If there's a way we can make it into something bigger, where we start to talk about things we want to do, we want to talk about our goals and our visions for the IDA, the UTEP revisions, that's what are naturally going to be part of that.
So is your preference to do this before a board meeting or to do this a separate day?
I say we do it a separate day.
Okay.
I'm perfectly fine with dedicating a day or a half day just to kind of do our kind of good housekeeping efforts that we should be doing. We should be looking short term and long term.
Okay.
We should be talking about this.
I have a request from MRB's also. Is the company doing so to have what would be more of a strengths and weaknesses of both having a structure UTEP and a UTEP structure that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my request.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. They should definitely
Of
be
both
doing all
scenarios.
for us as we move through this UTEP. That's the kind of stuff we want to see.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe also add to that examples of, she has said that other boards, they kind of run the gamut of sort of
Yeah.
one version versus another.
Right.
To see those,
Maybe right in the middle.
those ends.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
Right. And obviously any insight Tracy could give as to maybe why that exists. If there is a lot of difference, there could be a reason. It could be the size, projects, volume. It could be just have us understand, rather than have me say, here's what I think uninformed, maybe explain to me what the difference is, what exists, what the differences are, and why they exist, and then I can be informed and give her my opinion.
Got it. Okay.
And if that information is sent out before, that'd be great. So that by the time,
Okay. So you want like a
Yeah, I mean, as much as we're going to digest over the summer.
but I think the overall goal is just like Adam broke it down. That's the priority. All right. Is that all, guys? Everybody? Board members?
I think so.
Okay.
We got through a lot. It was a little long tonight, but we got through a lot of stuff.
All right. Who's ready to make the motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn our June meeting.
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstaining? Opposing?
you got to be
Enjoy your break.